Good morning, everybody. Right, you may notice we're not at the field. Are we, Princess? She's sitting there in front of me. Really big tired eyes. Basically, Scott restarted back at school Monday, and because of the times that he starts now, it means that we can't. Sophie can't take him to school, which is what used to happen, because where their times are so different. So yes, we have to walk him to school. So we walk with both of them. Sophie continues on to her school. Me and Scott, Scott goes and plays in the park. Me and Princess just have a sit down and a rest. Then we walk back. It's a mile walk there. It's a mile walk back. I did try filming it on the way back, but it was just, the roads were just too busy. You wouldn't be able to hear it. It's down the main road. But yeah, she enjoyed her little walk and now she's knackered. I'm not sure what time these are going to go up because I now need to, after this, to get on with some work, and then I will edit it all together once it's done that. But anyway, so there's that bit of it anyway. So these are going to be going up different times of the day. Probably going to stick to Tuesday to Friday now. I think doing it on Saturday was a bit too much for me. So 4 days a week you're going to get these. Anyway, so today's saying, oh, she's just got comfy on my leg. Look, there she is. Right, today's saying anyway is never give up. Does that mean if something isn't working or you don't feel like you should be doing it anymore, that you should then stop doing it? No, it does not. What it means by never give up is that if there's something you really want to get done and there is a way of doing it, and it may be the first attempt it doesn't work, the second attempt it doesn't work, not even the third, fourth or fifth, and it may mean doing minor tweaking. For example, driving test. My first driving test, I failed big style. To the point that within 5 minutes of being on my test, the examiner had to put his foot on the brake and he'd had to grab the steering wheel. Yeah, it wasn't good. And yes, I thought I was ready for my test. And then test came along and yeah, a second driving test. Could have given up then. Didn't. Thought, right, I'll get straight back on it. Second driving test. Not a good one again. No. I completely lost it. I was on a slight hill at traffic lights. I couldn't move. So my examiner ended up controlling the the clutch for me because I had no clutch control. I just completely lost it. I learnt to drive in a manual car. Again, could have given up. I didn't. I had a break. I'll admit I had a break from there because we were getting married. This is my first two tests were in 2002. We were getting married. We were going to move, and we moved. And then I thought, where we moved to, I didn't really need to learn to drive. It was a really nice area. Nice area, I say. Really good public transport area. Then we moved again around here. So this is what now? 2006 we moved around here. I had Sophie in 2008, and the public transport, love Medway to death, but the public transport compared to where I used to live is absolutely dire and absolutely expensive. It's actually got better because when I first moved here, the buses that used to take me from here to town or to Chatham, which is the locally big town for the bus route, were like little minibuses. Now I had Sophie, then I found out I was pregnant with Scott. And I was like, I can't do this. How am I going to take two kids under 2 on a minibus? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start it again. So I did another test. Different instructor. He was a completely different instructor. No. I had another instructor. And we just didn't gel. I wouldn't say they're a bad instructor. We just didn't gel. So then I went to another instructor. And it was a lot better. And I'd done another test and yeah, I failed again. I had to do a turn in the road and I ended up on the other side of the road. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but yeah. And then after I mucked up and did that, he said if I hadn't done that, I'd have had like 2 minors. So, yeah. And then my next driving test, this is my test number 4, so I've not given up. Test number 4, I passed. Because I got to the point where I found out who the examiner was and they had a really bad rep for failing people. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to fail this anyway, so I might as well just blink and get it over and done with. Sorry, next door neighbour, go now. So, but yeah, and then I passed. And it can be the same with anything. It can be the same with a business. It can be the same with home life. It's about not giving up on something that you really think is important to you. For example, with what I do, I started off, when I first started doing this, I was selling, well, when I first was self-employed, I was selling craft supplies, etc. And I just didn't enjoy it. So yeah, I gave that up. I didn't give it up because it wasn't working. I gave it up. Just a moment. That's better. I gave it up because I wasn't enjoying it. But I transitioned from doing that into reselling. And I started off, I was selling toys and games. And plush, and not so much toys and games like most people. It was the baby stuff, so it was like baby toys, because I'd sold all the kids stuff on there when they were babies, so I knew it had a market for them. And then I got into clothing. I wasn't going to do clothing, I hated clothing. Then I got into clothing, and then I got bored of it, and it's not that I've given up, I've adapted it. So now I sell all sorts of stuff, and I don't just sell on eBay anymore. So that's not giving up, that's adapting. And also, where I did give up the craft supplies, selling them, it was because I didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't because I couldn't do it anymore. And I think if you look at something, you try it and it doesn't work, I think the best thing you can do is look at it and see if there's another way around it. There's always ways you can adapt. It might not be like route A, route B, route C, route D. You might need a bit of route C and a bit of route F. You know, and until you try these things, you don't know, do you? So, yeah, that's the same for today. And I really have waffled today, haven't I? So much more relaxed without the children here. So, anyway, right, I will catch up with you tomorrow. So, I'll speak to you later. Bye for now.